35,000 plus migrants in the city of Chicago, and it's something that is growing taxpayer cost, concerns about crime, concerns about infectious disease. The attraction some have to Illinois for migrants coming to the state. Somebody who's very schooled in what's going on currently and how we got to this situation is a former Trump administration official when it comes to immigration, and that's Tom Homan. You see him a lot talking about these issues, even going to Congress to address these issues, and he joins us now here with Bishop on Air. Tom, thanks for taking time. Glad we were able to connect, and you've got a big event coming up here in Springfield we'll tell people about. But I guess let's start with how in the world did we get into the situation that we currently are in?
Well, look, 6 months before the election, I wrote an op-ed for Fox News, and I said that Joe Biden won the presidency, we would lose the border. And I said that based on the promises he was making during the campaign, that he's going to put a moratorium on deportations, he's going to shut down ICE detention, he's going to give amnesty, you're going to get free health care to illegal aliens. When you make those types of promises to the entire world, they're going to come to the greatest nation on earth. So look, this isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. This is by design. He ran on open borders. You got to give him credit. He kept his promise. We have open borders now. So what makes me angry is that we went for the most secure border of my lifetime under President Trump. Data clearly shows that illegal immigration at a 45-year low. Illegal immigration was down 83 to 90%, depending on what time frame you look at. We went from the most secure border we ever had, based on data, to historic illegal immigration within months. So this was clearly their design, and it angers me that they purposely unsecured the border. First president in the history of the nation that came in office and unsecured the border.
Tom Homan, he's going to be in Springfield Thursday with the Sangamon County Republicans for the Lincoln Day dinner, and you've got that featured speech that I'm sure people are revved up to hear about, Tom. But, in Illinois, surely you're no stranger to the politics. We're a state that's dominated by Democrats holding all statewide offices. They have supermajorities in the House and the Senate. We even had a Republican governor years ago enact the Trust Act, which says that local and state police can't assist federal immigration authorities in enforcing the law. But Governor J.B. Pritzker, he says that the migrants here are asylum seekers. Where do you differ with him saying that they're here seeking asylum and they're legal?
What he's not telling you is, you can categorize them asylum seekers because they're claiming asylum. But if you look at the last 10 years of data from the immigration courts, last 10 years, nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at our border never get relief from U.S. courts because they simply don't qualify or they don't show up in court. That's the part he doesn't tell you. So 9 out of 10 of these people that they release in the United States will get an order of removal, an order of deportation from a judge, whether it's in person or an order in absentia. If they don't show up in court, they'll get ordered removed, even though they're not there. So 9 out of 10 will get ordered removed. And so that's what the governor is not telling you. And the reason Chicago is seeing such huge numbers is because of the exact fact the Trust Act is just one of many things that's going to push people to Chicago because they know it's a sanctuary city. Cook County Jail, ICE officers aren't allowed in Cook County Jail. ICE officers, they don't accept ICE detainers. So, you know what? If you're going to go to a city, if you're illegally in the United States and you want to be protected, go to a sanctuary city because you can even be arrested for a serious crime and you're going to be released back into the community. No one's going to call ICE. So, Chicago's, they got what they asked for, and it's going to get worse. And the problem is the American taxpayer is going to foot the bill for this. So you can continue to house them. You can continue to feed them. You can continually pay for their medical care. You can continually pay for their education. They're going to overcrowd the schools, which is already done. Trauma centers are going bankrupt, which are already done. So the problem is that the American taxpayer is going to foot the bill for the sanctuary city and open borders policy that the Chicago leadership agrees with.
We're talking with Tom Homan. Again, details on his visit to Springfield with the Sangamon County Republican Organization, 120th Annual Lincoln Day Dinner. That is Thursday at the Bank of Springfield Center, May 9th, 6 p.m. You may be able to still score a ticket if it hasn't sold out. Tom, you talked about the taxpayer cost. Of course, Illinois has the first state in the nation to offer up Taxpayer subsidized health care coverage to non-citizens over the age of 45. How long is this sustainable, and what happens if the border is not sealed?
Well, look, we already see record illegal immigration. Over 8 million people have crossed this border under Joe Biden. Add to that's what we know about. These are recorded encounters, and if you add to that, over 2 million, we hit over 2 million last month. Over 2 million known gotaways. 2 million people crossed the border. They're caught on video, drone traffic, or sensor traffic. They weren't apprehended because the border patrol was so overwhelmed that they didn't get to them. So you add to that, that's 10 million. 10 million. By the time Joe Biden leaves office, his first term, you're going to be looking at about 12 million encounters. And that is, again, nothing even close to this in the history of this nation. But if this continues, if there's not action to secure the border, it's going to bankrupt this country. Look, I can't blame anybody that wants to come to the greatest nation on earth. I get it, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And what the left's not telling you, yeah, these so-called asylum seekers, which I told you 90% are fraud, while they're clogging up the entire system, there are people in this world that really do need our protection. They really are escaping fear and persecution from their home governments, and they're sitting in the back seat because of the millions and millions of fraudulent claims that had to be adjudicated. So this isn't, for those who stand in line and take their tests and do their background investigations and pay their fees, they're being punished because they're following the law. And that is something we don't want to do. This nation is a nation of laws, and we need to enforce it. Entering the country illegally is a crime. Bottom line, no one can argue that. Me and AOC had that out at one of the hearings. Entering the United States between the port of entries illegally is a crime under Title 8 United States Code 1325. If you get deported, you come back again, it's a felony. So look, it's not okay to commit a crime to enter this country. If you want to be a part of this country, if you want to be part of the greatest country on earth and do things the right way, the first thing you shouldn't do is commit a crime against this country if you want to be a part of it. We need to have consequences for violating our laws. You violate any other law, there's consequences. We need to apply consequences for entering the country illegally because people need to understand when you overwhelm the border patrol, what this administration does with this huge crisis on the border, they overwhelm the border patrol. That's why we got over 2 million gotaways. But what happens when the border patrol is so consumed with the humanitarian crisis that on average 70%, 70% of agents are no longer on patrol because they're processing these huge humanitarian crises. When you take 70% of agents off the line, which has been done three years now, that's when the fentanyl came across to kill 148,000 Americans. That's when the sex trafficking of women and children up 600%. That's when the people off the terrorist watch list is at 358 just on the southern border in 3 years. And under Trump administration, 4 years, we had 11 in 4 years, and they had over 350 in 3. They had 18 last month. They had more last month than we had in 4 years. So when you overwhelm the border like this, regardless of what your opinion is on illegal immigration, when you cause a crisis this big, it causes a public safety issue, a public health issue, and the biggest national security vulnerability I've seen in my lifetime.
Tom Homan, he is a former acting director for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement under the Trump administration. And Tom, I know President Trump and his campaign trail, he's talked about one of the first things he would do is he would start some kind of mass deportation. If you could address that and maybe how a state like Illinois may not cooperate because of things like the Trust Act prohibiting state and local law enforcement from engaging with and helping federal law enforcement enforce immigration.
Then Chicago and Illinois need to get the hell out of the way because we're going to do it, and it just means other law enforcement is a false multiplier. We don't have to send a bunch of agents there to do the job, but if they're going to play that game and not cooperate. And you know what? We just send more agents, an unlimited amount of agents to Illinois to do the job. If we can't get a force multiplier, if they think we're going to not do it, they're wrong. If they think we're not going to show up, they're wrong. Because in Trump administration, look, there will be an historic deportation operation. Why is that? Because we got historic illegal immigration, where I just explained 9 out of 10 of them will be ordered removed. Now, even the left, I argue left all the time. Okay, you claim to have the right to claim asylum. You say they have a right to see a judge. Okay, but they have a right to due process. Okay, but due process doesn't mean swap. if at the end of this due process, we spend billions of dollars in this whole process, if a federal judge orders them removed, that removal order must be followed through. It must be executed, or what the hell are we doing? If the judge's order doesn't mean anything, we don't remove them, then shut down the immigration courts. Take the Border Patrol off the border, because there's no meaning to the system, and our laws are being ignored. No, we'll give them their due process. They can see a judge or not show up. When they get order removed, we will execute those orders, because that's what the law required. And even on the left, they can't. So what, are we supposed to let them go? That's the answer. They lost their case. They don't qualify for asylum. They've been ordered removed. We're supposed to let them go. That's not going to happen under the next Trump administration. So hold on tight. If Illinois don't want to help, then stay out of the way, because we're going to be there.
And Tom, I know the former president. He's well aware of bad press, right? The press just attacking him. How would the administration? I guess if you have an opinion that it doesn't matter what they say about this, but I can imagine that the corporate media is just going to pile on and make allegations. It's Nazi-like, it's Hitler-like, mass deportations of this sort, people being loaded into trains. I imagine the press is just going to be horrible. Is that something you've considered, and how do you combat that?
First of all, it's not going to be what the left says. Now they say we're going to build concentration camps. No, we're not. And we're not going to sweep neighborhoods. We're not going to do that. Everybody we arrested a targeted operation. During the Trump administration, they say, "Oh, you guys are inhumane. You separated families." And no. If you look at the data available to anybody, can go to ICE.gov. Look at the data. Under the Trump administration, 91% of everybody we arrested was either criminal or pending criminal charges. We prioritize the public safety threats on the Trump, and we'll do another thing. The difference is, under the next Trump administration, no one's off the table. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. I don't go speeding down this highway 120 miles an hour because the law says I can't. I don't want to get a ticket. I don't cheat on my taxes. I don't want to be charged with tax fraud and go to prison. It's not okay to enter this country illegally, and it's certainly not okay to ignore a judge's order when you've been ordered removed. It's not okay. So if you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't be comfortable. You should be looking over the shoulder. That's the way it's supposed to be. Just like when you and I, if we go break a law today, we're going to be looking over our shoulders. We're concerned that we broke the law. They should be concerned too. But under this administration, there are no consequences. They're living a life happy and free, because Secretary Mayorkas has told ICE, you can't arrest somebody for simply being here illegally. You got to wait till they get convicted of a serious crime. That's not, that is exactly what he has told ICE, and it's in writing. So, on the Trump administration, we're going to force immigration law. There's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to commit yet another crime and be a serious crime to be removed from the United States. That's not what the immigration law says. So we're going to force the law. As far as the bad press, look, I'm used to it. I don't care. I mean, I get asked all the time, does it bother you that a big part of this country hates your guts? No, it doesn't. You know why? Because if they saw what I saw in my 34 years, the tragedies I saw, the number of 31% of women getting raped making this journey, the number of aliens that die crossing the border, over 1,700 or Biden's watch, a historic record, and 148,000 overdose deaths from fentanyl coming across an open border. The criminal cartels of Mexico, because of this open border, have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in this world combined. So no, you can say what you want about me. Actually, I take pleasure that I can live in their heads rent-free. Have at it. But we're going to do the job. I don't care what they say. We're going to do what we're supposed to do, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Tom Homan, greatly appreciate you taking the time. Again, he will be in Springfield for the Sangamon County Lincoln Day dinner on Thursday at the Bank of Springfield Center. I imagine you'll hear a lot about that and more when he speaks as the keynote speaker. Greatly appreciate you connecting with us this morning with Bishop on Air, and be safe out there, all right?
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, more coming up with Bishop on Air. Stay tuned.